Oh man, this doesn't look too good. Inside Ubisoft's unprecedented exodus of developers. So, let's see, driving the news, the wave of resignations impacting scores of industries has come for the video game sector this year and has felt acutely at the massive Ubisoft. Okay, so signs of the exits are abundant. Top name talent is leaving, with at least 5 of the top 25 credited people from the game's biggest game, 2021. Far Cry 6 is already gone. 12 of the top 50 of Assassin's Creed Valhalla have left. A lot of mid-level, lower-level workers are headcounts are dropping. Yeah, that's pretty bad. Interviews with a dozen current and former Ubisoft developers cite a range of factors for the departures: low pay, abundance of competitive opportunities. Yikes. I'd also think that the NFTs thing at least pushed some people out. Maybe not a lot, but at least a few. So yeah, to put this lightly, this doesn't look too good for Ubisoft. Not to say that any game company, doesn't have its scandals, but yeah. On top of the NFTs, some of the workplace harassment that's been foretold at Ubisoft, yeah, now they're having a mass exodus. Yeah, and worst of all, one worker who left this year said they'd tried to involve themselves in efforts for the company to reform its culture, but were disappointed by what they heard from their bosses. They constantly emphasized moving on and looking forward while ignoring the complaints, concerns, and cries of their employees. Also frustrated by their role at Ubisoft, they left. The company's reputation was too much to bear. It's legitimately embarrassing. So, to put this lightly, yeah, this doesn't look too good for Ubisoft, but will they keep pumping their games out? Yes, they will. Quarantine, or Rainbow Six Quarantine, yeah, that's still gonna probably come out soon unless they delay it again. Um, Whatever new games they're coming out with, those gonna come out, and yeah, it looks legitimately concerning. But anyway, welcome back. Big hiatus, but we got a lot to talk about. So obviously, I took a 2 week break, particularly due to the finals that I had in my college. But besides that, nothing too much happened. Just the game awards. A few new things here and there. Nothing that big. But I did want to start with the Ubisoft thing because it's kind of interesting to see the whole Great Resign movement that's been going around, and then on top of that, Ubisoft's history and what current decisions they're making now. It's like, yeah, it's not that great looking. So I did at least want to start off with that because it was probably the most interesting to me, and we'll see how Ubisoft responds to this. With maybe they'll increase pay, they will address sexual harassment claims. No, they won't, and then maybe they'll drop the NFTs thing because there's nothing that NFTs really bring to the table that video games don't already can do. I don't know, but we'll see. But anyway, let's move on to the next set of things, shall we? Next up, I want to talk about Stalker II. Really big hyped game, but they're getting NFTs, and yeah, let's just say that the public didn't take this, very well, particularly. So, Stalker 2 Heart of Chernobyl is one of the bigger releases of 2022, and for better or for worse, is going to feature one of the biggest tech trends going on this year, NFTs. And so they will be using blockchain technology to let the community own a piece of Stalker 2 that includes the opportunity to become the first ever metahumans, which appears to define as a non-player character rendered in very high detail. Yeah, okay. And through a spokesperson confirmed a metahuman won't be made with Epic Games' metahuman creator tool. So, wow. To become a metahuman, players will be able to bid for an NFT, offering that prize as part of the auction taking place in January 2022. Whoever owns the NFT to become an NPC in the game will be able to buy and sell it up to a specific claim date after the auction. And for whoever who does end up with the NFT, here's how the process of becoming an NPC in the game will work, and yada yada yada. And so, yeah, to put this lightly, if you didn't see this on Twitter when it first happened, people are like, what the hell, you guys? Why would we want to, support something like this? And so people are like, Stalker 2, oh my goodness, big game, and then NFTs, what is going on here? And so, yeah, to put this lightly, I don't know how much longer the NFTs will last in the gaming industry, or if it happens enough, it'll essentially get forced its way in, right? At least with like loot boxes, it kind of started out with Valve and like TF2 CS:GO, and then other companies were taking it to a whole different level where they were locking content behind it. At the very least, with CS:GO and TF2 and even Overwatch, initially it was just cosmetics, and You don't need cosmetics to play the game. Sure, it'll look cool, but if you really wanted to, you didn't need to put money in. But now that NFTs are becoming a bigger and bigger thing, I'm not sure if either it'll stand strong in the face of adversity or if it's going to collapse very soon. Who knows? But I really hope it doesn't become a thing, because it's useless. There's literally nothing to it. Like, if you wanted to claim, like, an NPC or put yourself in the game as an NPC, we already have that. You just put money into a Kickstarter. Oh, yeah, I gotta talk about that, too. But, yeah, so it's just, I don't know. It's stupid. But let's talk about the whole Kickstarter thing, if you don't know what it is already. So, on the topic of NFTs and companies suddenly jumping in with Ubisoft and Stalker II, let's talk about Kickstarter. For those that don't know, Kickstarter is just an open platform where you put money into a project and help fund it to, become successful. And so for video games like, I think, Hollow Knight, Hyper Light Drifter, and multiple other indie games have gotten on the platform and bam, they become, instant successes. Either, when they get released or on the platform itself. I know at the very least, Crowsworn did really well in its campaign and reaching, 1.2 mil? And that was unprecedented. It was huge. And even Team Cherry backed it. And so I think Kickstarter is a great platform. At the very least, if not anything, it helps get indie developers off the ground, and so that they can create, their first big hits. So like Hollow Knight, Team Cherry, Hyper Light Drifter, and Heart Machine Games. I think that's the company's name. They've recently just released Solar Ash, and yeah, I think this is a great platform. But now they're trying to put in NFTs. Now, on December 15th, Kickstarter put out a blog basically talking about it. We know our community has a lot of questions about this new direction, including how it will benefit creators and how we'll stay true to our environmental commitments. We are listening. We started an FAQ here we go, and with what we've been asked the most. The bottom line is we're doing this because we believe it will benefit creators and exponentially expand our ability to help bring creative projects to life. We can't do this alone, and we're planning more ways to make sure your voice is heard. And once again, I don't quite get how this will help, because Kickstarter already is just people throwing money at a project and then, it does well. Or if it doesn't fund well, you retry again and do it differently. And so looking at the FAQ page, what's this new protocol mean for creators? Let's give them benefit of the doubt first. But, let's see. What will these NFTs do? The first thing to know is that Kickstarter's mission remains the same. Kickstarter exists to help bring creative projects to life. Over time, we believe we can make crowdfunding for creative projects more effective and more available to creators around the world, not by changing the core experience, but by allowing more people to build on top of it alongside us. But what? I don't get it. Imagine your dream tool for crowdfunding your project, whether it's an easy way to get the word out to backers or a tool that takes the headache out of shipping. Now that part of Kickstarter's underlying technology will be made open and available for everyone to build on, that tool could become a reality. Communities can collaborate to decide on the tools they want to see, build them, and get rewarded for it. One of the things we're most excited to explore is the possibility of governance by contributors. We imagine a future in which creators can have direct influence over what gets built, for example, by voting on new tools or features. We're funding an independent governance lab that will focus on ensuring that everyone who contributes to the protocol and ecosystem gets to shape it and benefit from it. Creators very much indeed. But you can just do that by having a poll. And those that, paid a certain amount of money get to be in this kind of category and have maybe 1 or 2 votes, and higher amounts get more. What? Why would you need NFTs to do this? This new protocol will be developed by a new entity separate from Kickstarter, PBC. Expect creators will benefit from the improvements made via the community's contributions to the underlying protocol, as well as continued improvements we make to our own platform. Basically, we expect this direction to multiply the impact that we're able to have, getting creators the tools they need to fund their projects, and helping backers find and support those projects more easily. We invite you to come along the journey with us. We'd love to hear about the tools for creators and backers you'd most like to see as the protocol becomes a reality. You can send us thoughts at theprotocol@kickstarter.com. I don't get it. Because, again, if you wanted to make a poll, you just put it on your page and then you send out a message. If you have an NFT, it's kind of restricted because you're only supposed to have X amount of NFTs. They're supposed to all be unique with a specific link. But why would you need an NFT to, make people, distinct? I just don't get it. So basically, yeah, people hated this move, and I'm really hesitant to back anything on Kickstarter because this would essentially just be, pushing Kickstarter to do more of this, and I don't want to do that. Because NFTs not only, destroy the environment, but they're stupid. They really are. Like, digital scarcity and, like, having a specific number, it's like, why? The internet was literally meant to combat that. It was meant to spread information so easily, and now we're trying to restrict it? I don't know. It's whatever, but yeah, at this point, what I already have on Kickstarter, I hope they, they have great success, but I don't know where else I'm supposed to go. Maybe Indiegogo? I don't know. But yeah, at this point, I don't really want to support Kickstarter, but I know there's some great projects on there. I don't know. I don't know if I could support them. But let me know what you think about this. Up next, I want to talk about everything announced at the 2021 Game Awards. So we got Sonic the Hedgehog 2 and Sonic Frontiers, Alan Wake 2, Wonder Woman's getting a game, Star Wars Eclipse by Quantic Dream, Elden Ring made a grand appearance, Among Us is in VR, Dune is coming to the video game world, Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League is making a scene, Hellblade 2, Forbidden West, Plague Tale, Requiem, a Halo TV series is making its debut, Lost Ark, this new action MMO from Amazon Games coming to Steam, Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade is finally coming to PC, we got a fresh look at Destiny 2 The Witch Queen, Slitterhead, Nightingale, and a bunch of other games here. There were some pre-show announcements too, and yeah, all of these kind of look cool, but I mean, these are pretty much it. To be fair, the Game Awards was kind of just like a big game company, show-off fest, and so it's really cool. And I really wish that It Takes Two didn't win Game of the Year. Not to say that the game was bad, but I definitely think that Metroid Dread or even Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart kind of deserved GOTY. But It Takes Two was a really good game. I enjoyed it for the most part. And so, yeah. Next year, we'll hopefully get some, smaller game companies, maybe? Like, I don't know, if Team Cherry doesn't release Hollow Knight Silksong this year, or next year, then, maybe they'll show it off there. Who knows? But I just definitely think that the Game Awards needs to, focus on the games more. I don't know how to put it, but, I think it's really cool what the Game Awards does. I just wish that they did some things differently. But what do you think? And what do you think about the awards that some of those games won? Let me know in the comments down below. Up next, I want to talk about Final Fantasy XIV, and oh my. Let's just say that the game's doing so well that they literally had to stop selling online copies because they wouldn't be able to hold up with the servers with the amount of people trying to play the game. So, yeah, that in of itself should just tell you how popular Final Fantasy XIV is. And with Endwalker releasing, yeah, let's just say that it's crazy. I saw people posting about it here and there, and they just weren't able to sell any more games. So, feel-good story about how a game that initially was doing awfully, and now it's coming back. Well, it came back, and it's making huge waves to the point that it's literally unable to sell their games because of the amount of server congestion that would happen. Crazy to me. And I really hope that Final Fantasy XIV continues on the path that they are on. So, final news of today that I really want to talk about. The battle for Bungie's soul inside the studio's struggle for a better work culture. Now, I wasn't aware of this, and I think most people really weren't aware of this. Bungie's had a really bad work culture. And how did we figure this out? Well, it's September, Bungie made a huge announcement. After the developer spoke publicly about its desire to push back on toxic work culture, CEO Pete Parsons pulled back the curtain on a number of new initiatives in an effort to recognize its shortcomings. Bungie would hire a diversity and inclusion director, update hiring practices, improve training and tools, allow anonymous HR reporting, and end forced arbitration. And basically, let's just say that, yeah, that's a great move, but everybody was like, oh, you didn't have this already? Ooh, that didn't look good. And so the company basically put out a statement about like issues that they had in the past and acknowledged that, yeah, we messed up and we're trying to change for the better. And I applaud it. Now, of course, would I have liked that, they didn't have those issues in the first place? I mean, sure, but nobody's perfect. And at the very least, they're doing much better than Activision, Blizzard, Ubisoft, Riot. And it's just like, this is so refreshing to see that, they're like, hey, we're going to try to do better. We did fuck up, but we're trying to do better. And I love to see it, but, it'd be better if they didn't have to do this in the first place, or at least go through the mistakes of doing that first, but, at least they're learning. And so, as you can see here, Many of its current and former employees felt that their experience at the company, going back as far as 2011, and as recently this year, drastically clashed with Bungie's virtuous self-portrait, which, as much as I painted that rosy picture, it didn't look that great, at least amongst the employees. While some praised the news, for many others, hiring a DI director or ending mandatory arbitration in all employee contracts was far too little, far too late. And for others still, it was only one step on a long journey to a potentially better future, but with roadblocks remaining along the way. And so, IGN has spoken to 26 current and former employees that have worked at Bungie within the last decade, and basically, let's just say, yeah, it's basically what Activision Blizzard, Ubisoft, Riot all faced. And so, again, unfortunately, as much as I applaud that they're making moves, because at the very least they are trying, as you can see here, many employees felt that it was too little too short, and it's not that great, and I agree. It's still better than Activision Blizzard, but again, it's still very poor what's happening here. And so, if you want to read the full article, I'll link this one down below. And yeah, basically you can just say that, you can see just that it's bad. Narrative team worked 60, 70, 80, even 100 hours. No breaks, crunch. Emailed Reddit comments about these women to other company leaders in a seemingly bid to tear down the narrative team because players didn't like the story. And it's just like, yeah. As much as I like to say that, Bungie is making moves to make a better work culture environment, and they're making at least steps to it, as you can see here, the Bungie employees that are either there or have already left, they're saying, yeah, it's not only too little too late, but it's just, it's just not that great. And so, yeah, I like to see Bungie make more moves like that, and I applaud them for at least taking the first steps, unlike most other companies. But from these people, it seems that it's just not enough. And I hope they do better. Seriously. So, that's the news for this week. Let me just check next week. Yeah, alright. The day after New Year's. So, you can expect another episode from me. And yeah, so I got to talk about a lot of things that have been on my mind. A lot of it was NFTs and just the gaming culture, or at least like the employee culture of video game companies. And I definitely think it's important to talk about because otherwise, essentially people are just going to be used in these groups. And yeah, that wouldn't be great. And then NFTs also just are bad for the environment. And yeah, I don't think that's good either. So I've been gone for 2 weeks and there was a lot to talk about, but those are the main, big things I wanted to talk about, at least the most pertinent and most forward in my mind. And so, yeah, we still have a lot more to talk about. And there's a lot more companies that we have to hold accountable in the future. But, at the very least, Bungie's trying to start some things, but obviously many employees feel like they're still failing at it. Kickstarter, Stalker II, Ubisoft, they're all trying to start NFTs, and it's just like, guys, what are y'all guys doing? And so, there's still a lot of things to talk about, there's still a lot of things to do, but I definitely think that there's room to grow, and I think these companies can still redeem themselves. And so, at least if we hold them accountable, I can at least attempt to become more redeemable. But, I don't know. Maybe they're not. Maybe we should all just burn it down. But, let me know in the comments. And favorite, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all next week on a Sunday. I swear I won't be taking a break this time around.